So I wouldn't necessarily call it an award. It's a fellowship, and it's for specifically emerging documentary feature editors. So it's very specific. If you want to edit in documentary features, it's a really unique opportunity. It was born out of a sort of tragic situation. Karen Schmeer was an amazing, brilliant editor. She was Errol Morris's editor for a number of years. Her first film was Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. She did Fog of War, and her last film was Searching for Bobby Fischer. And she was tragically killed in a hit-and-run car accident in New York on her way home from work one night. She was 39 years old, and her friends got together and sort of made this fellowship in her honor for emerging documentary editors. And so it's been going now for 6 years. I'm the sixth person to get the fellowship. And it's very unique. It's based in sort of an idea of mentorship, which I think nowadays is kind of lost in the film world and in editing. Assistant editors don't often get to watch editors work or ask questions or learn how to edit in that way. So I think it's a really amazing opportunity. So you have to apply for the fellowship, you have to have edited between 1 and 3 feature documentaries. If you've edited more than 3, you're not eligible anymore, you're not an emerging editor.
Really? Wow.
If you, Best of Enemies, which I did last year, was my first feature documentary. Although I've been editing for about 10 years, I've done a lot of short form stuff, narrative, documentary, all kinds of things. But, and I actually applied for the fellowship 5 years ago and didn't get it. And then, and that was back when they were accepting narrative editors and also documentary. But now it's only documentary editors. So they've sort of shifted things around.
Do you know who the panel of judges are? I mean, who decides?
Yeah, it's Garrett Savage is the head of the fellowship, and it's basically 4 or 5 of Karen's closest friends. They're people that work in the industry and documentary filmmakers, but.
So what's the application process? Like, is it an essay? Is there a one-on-one interview, or is it?
Yeah, it's a very involved application process. I basically had to take a week off of work to do the application. It's just really long essays about why you want to be an editor, how you became an editor, and then you have to submit a scene from your work and talk about why that scene is reflective of your sensibility as an editor and how it sort of plays into the bigger story of the film. And so you have to be very articulate about why you're doing what you're doing. And it was, for me, if you're not a natural writer, it can be quite difficult.
Actually, though, that's kind of cool that you're forced to say why you wanted to be an editor, why you're doing that kind of editor, because you probably never thought of that before.
Yeah, it's good practice.
Yeah, because why did you want to become an editor? Now that you've written it down.
I didn't originally want to be an editor.
No, that's kind of the usual answer.
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to work in film. When I was 5, I wanted to be an actress. When I was in high school, I got very self-conscious and decided I wanted to be behind the camera. But so I sort of oscillated back and forth between all different kinds of jobs in film. I PA'd on things, I explored all the different options, but I just kept getting pulled back into editing. People kept telling me, like, that's what you're good at, and will you edit this for me or that for me? And So I didn't love the idea of sitting alone in a room all day, or sitting all day even. Like, I liked being on set, I liked being an active person. So it was hard for me, you know, to sit all the time and be just like dark in a dark room. So I switched back and forth between editing and producing for a while, or associate producing and things like that. But after college, I moved to New York and got a job as an assistant editor at a small documentary production company, and got some assistant editing experience. And then I decided to move to Memphis, Tennessee. And when I moved there, I basically decided I was going to go around and tell everyone that I was an editor. And eventually people started to believe me, and they started hiring me to edit things. And so I built up a pretty good resume when I was living in Memphis, because you wouldn't necessarily think so, but there's a really vibrant film community there.
We all know that there is a vibrant community in Memphis. In fact,
Yeah.
a lot of members of this group came from Memphis to Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And show up every once. There might be somebody here. Who knows? I have no idea. But what brought you to Memphis in the first place?
A friend.
Was it that vibrant community that you heard of? Or?
It was actually the music history of Memphis that brought me there. A really good friend of mine was doing a documentary about the history of soul music with the Stax Museum, and I was kind of burnt out on New York. I was really tired, and I was sick of my job taking up my whole life, and so I just kind of wanted a break and wanted to do something fun. So I decided to go to Memphis, and I shot this documentary for my friend. And then we ended up loving it there, and we decided to move there. And I ended up staying, and he ended up moving back to New York. But he brought me there. I got into the music scene, I got into the film scene. I was really interested in everything Memphis had to offer. It's a really cool place. And it was sort of a relaxed lifestyle, and it was really fun. And that's where I met Robert Gordon, who's a music writer and documentary filmmaker and the co-director of Best of Enemies. I always work best in that kind of situation where it's sort of a direct collaboration between me and the director, where we are making a film together. I think I don't like working in environments where it's more like a factory. So documentary feature editing really spoke to me in that way, where the editor is so much a part of the film, the final film that you end up making. You're basically a writer of the film along with the director, and you find the story in the footage that you have in front of you. So I think specifically in documentary feature editing, or any documentary editing really, the collaboration between the editor and the director is very important.
This is Miami Day 1.
The Republicans decided to hold their convention south of the Mason-Dixon line, and I blew that one.
Pieces of the ceiling start flying, and then the whole thing started giving away.
To help us extract meaning from these conventions, two of America's most eloquent commentators, William Buckley and Gore Vidal.
Bill Buckley was the first modern conservative to see that ideological debates were cultural debates.
Mr. Buckley, do you think miniskirts are in good taste?
On you, I think they are.
The people at ABC asked him, well, is there anybody you wouldn't go on with? And he said, the only one I can think of is Gore Vidal.
Gore Vidal is one of America's most successful and distinguished writers.
We are all prostitutes in one sense or another, ethically, if not sexually.
For Buckley, Vidal was the devil.
I am a happy warrior. I'm in battle and enjoying it.
He represented everything that was going to moral hell. These were two visions of America clashing.
Each thought the other was quite dangerous.
All this security makes me very nervous.
Because it's necessary, apparently.
If Buckley were not taken out, his ideas would take down the nation.
The country's being split at the seams.
It's almost as if they were matter and antimatter.
Say that again. Freedom breeds inequality. Now say it a third time.
No, twice is enough.
He's always to the right and almost always in the wrong. I confess that anything complicated confuses Mr. McDowell.
Hey, grotesque example.
Must somehow hold to that.
Shut up.
There's nothing feigned. They really do despise one another.
Now listen, you Koreans. Stop calling me a crypto Nazi.
Let's stop calling names.
You in your goddamn face, and you'll stay plastered. This is William F. Buckley Jr. in New York.
Perfect.
Did you end up liking any of them?
I loved both of them.
Okay.
I loved them so much. I mean, it was so, they're both such incredible characters.
Yeah.
And so entertaining and so brilliant that you kind of start to forget whatever their politics are, just you start to see the humanity of each of them. And that was a big part of the focus of the editing of the film. Like, we didn't want it to be biased to one or the other. It wasn't about the politics. It was about these two guys and what they did for punditry and how they talked to each other and how they changed how we talk about politics.
Yeah, these two are the great debaters, and you could never win a debate with these guys. Also, I wanted to mention that Morgan Neville was the director of this, who seems to crank out a documentary every 14 days. I would love to open the questions to all of you, especially about Eileen's career path and how you might emulate it or not. I don't know. It's because I know you probably get that question quite a bit. I mean, what do I do? How do I get into the business? How do I, what did you do? Did you have a quest and you just did everything you could, or did everything just happen?
I think it's...
I imagine you worked hard.
I worked hard. It's a lot of just like micro decisions, I feel like, that accumulate and then get you somewhere. So if you somehow have in the back of your mind the thing that you want, every little decision that you make will eventually get you there.
That little decision you made to go to Memphis, that was a big decision?
Who knew?
That was the right decision?
Right.
The decision you made to come to Los Angeles, is that the right decision?
Right, yes, definitely. I love LA so much. I lived in Memphis for 6 years, and when I left, I was really ready to leave because
of the humidity.
No, I love that actually, but
did you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm from the South, so I like that part. But yeah, LA was just like the next step for me. It was I was really craving mentorship, which is why this fellowship is so amazing to me, because just being able to learn from veteran editors and being able to like be in a room like this with all editors is just incredible.
Yeah, speaking of the fellowship, you just got to go to South by just last week, and that's part of the fellowship, right?
Yeah, that's where they officially gave me the fellowship at South by Southwest. So that's the kickoff of the year of the fellowship, and so that was really great, just getting to go there and see all the films there and hang out. And then this year, the biggest part of the fellowship is you get 3 mentors who are veteran documentary editors. And then for each fellow, the mentorship is what you make of it.
So please thank Eileen Meyer.
Thank you.